On May 10, 2021, 30-year-old Jessica Edwards was reported missing by her family.
To the index now in the desperate search for a missing mother. A vigil held today in South Windsor, Connecticut for 30-year-old Jessica Edwards. Police say she was last seen on Monday getting into a car with her friend. Edwards had just celebrated her first Mother's Day with her 7-month-old son. Police are calling her disappearance suspicious.
She was a respiratory therapy student at Manchester Community College and a new mother to a 7-month-old son. She lived in South Windsor, Connecticut, with her husband, 22-year-old Taj Hutchinson. According to Taj, Jessica had left their home voluntarily early that morning after an argument. However, she left behind her phone, car, personal items, and child, and had no known plans or arrangements. Jessica's family immediately suspected foul play. She had never gone silent without informing anyone. Police launched an investigation and quickly identified inconsistencies in Taj's account. Surveillance footage from the apartment complex showed no sign of Jessica leaving. Her phone had no activity after May 10th. No rideshare or travel records indicated she went anywhere. Her school and professors confirmed she missed class without notice. 11 days later, on May 21st, police located Jessica's decomposing body in a wooded area in East Hartford. Taj was arrested hours later. During interrogation, he confessed to killing her during a physical altercation. He claimed she had hit him with a laptop and brandished a kitchen knife, and that he restrained her by kneeling on her neck and back until she stopped moving. He kept her body in the home for one day before placing it in his SUV and disposing of it in the woods.
Developing news at 11, family and friends remembering the life of Jessica Edwards. Thank you for joining us. I'm Kevin Hogan. Police found the body of the 30-year-old mother in an East Hartford park, and tonight her husband, Taj Hutchinson, is locked up on a manslaughter charge. The 22-year-old is being held now on $1 million bond. Loved ones held a vigil to honor Edwards. Channel 3 Eyewitness News reporter Shante Passmore covered the emotional event. She's live right now in South Windsor with more. Shante?
A mother, a sister, a friend. That's how many people remember Jessica Edwards. And people passed out these red ribbons because we're learning this was her favorite color. And tonight, many are wishing this wasn't the outcome.
Stay with us as we unravel the shocking story and uncover the heartbreaking details of what led to this senseless loss. Before we begin, let us know in the comments, where are you watching from? And what are your thoughts as the story unfolds? Welcome to True Crime Tales, where we reveal the crimes that shock communities and the secrets hidden behind closed doors. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications. You won't want to miss what's coming next. Now let's begin. Jessica Edwards was a 30-year-old woman living in South Windsor, Connecticut. She was a student enrolled in a respiratory therapy program at Manchester Community College. She was nearing the end of her studies and looking forward to graduation. Her academic records and attendance history showed a pattern of consistency, dedication, and seriousness toward her future in the healthcare field. At the time of her death, Jessica was also a new mother. She and her husband, Taj Hutchinson, had welcomed their first child, a son, just 7 months earlier. According to family members, Jessica was adjusting well to motherhood, balancing her responsibilities at school and at home. Those close to her describe her as responsible, focused, and deeply committed to both her education and her family. Jessica had no prior criminal background, and there were no official or unofficial reports suggesting behavioral issues. She maintained frequent contact with her family, including her mother and siblings. Her mother later stated that Jessica never went more than a few hours without responding to text messages or phone calls. Any interruption in communication was considered highly unusual. Jessica lived with her husband and son in a shared apartment located in a residential area of South Windsor. The apartment complex was described as quiet and family-friendly. There had been no previous police visits or complaints involving the couple. Taj Hutchinson was 22 years old at the time of the incident. He was married to Jessica and was a biological father of their infant son. Taj was known by others as quiet, reserved, and soft-spoken. He did not have a criminal history and had no documented incidents of domestic violence. Publicly, their relationship showed no outward signs of abuse. Friends, neighbors, and Jessica's classmates had not witnessed any aggressive or concerning behavior from Taj. However, after Jessica's death, her family came forward to disclose that arguments had become more frequent between the couple in the weeks leading up to the incident. These conflicts reportedly revolved around parenting disagreements, household responsibilities, and signs of growing emotional tension. Despite these private issues, there have been no restraining orders, police reports, or other red flags that typically precede documented cases of domestic abuse. The relationship was perceived as stable from the outside, and Jessica had not shared any major concerns publicly or with law enforcement. The critical timeline began on May 9, 2021, Mother's Day. This was Jessica's first Mother's Day as a parent. According to statements given to investigators, Taj presented Jessica with a gift, a pair of guinea pigs. The gift reportedly triggered an argument. While no physical altercation was reported on that day, multiple sources later revealed that Jessica was disappointed by the gift and that the disagreement continued throughout the evening. Jessica's mother confirmed that she saw her daughter during a family Mother's Day celebration earlier that day. Jessica appeared normal and showed no signs of distress. She returned to her apartment with Taj and the baby later that evening. On May 10th, Jessica failed to respond to any messages or phone calls. Her mother and sister attempted to reach her multiple times. She did not show up for her classes that day, nor did she inform her instructors of her absence, behavior that her college contacts later described as extremely uncharacteristic. Taj told investigators that Jessica had left the apartment voluntarily around 7 a.m. following an argument. He stated that she had taken her phone and keys but left her vehicle behind. He said he believed she had arranged for someone to pick her up, but he did not know who. This account raised immediate concerns. Jessica's car remained parked outside the apartment. Her phone was powered off and remained inactive from the morning of May 10th onward. There were no messages or calls sent after the alleged departure. There was no activity on her social media accounts, email, or student portal. Jessica's purse, identification, and essential personal items were also still in the apartment. By May 11th, Jessica's family reported her missing to local authorities. A missing person investigation was officially launched. Taj participated in search efforts, made public appeals, and distributed flyers. He gave several interviews indicating concern for Jessica's safety. However, police found no surveillance footage or neighbor reports confirming Jessica's departure. No rideshare records, text messages, or phone logs supported Taj's version of events. The absence of electronic communication, financial transactions, or physical movement outside the apartment complex led investigators to suspect that Jessica had never left the premises. Her instructors at Manchester Community College also contacted authorities, expressing concern over her unexplained absence. Jessica had been present in all of her classes the week before and had turned in all assignments on time. The sudden disappearance, combined with no prior warning, deepened suspicions. As the investigation progressed, detectives began to focus more closely on inconsistencies in Taj's statements. He claimed he had gone out later in the day with the baby and returned home alone. He also said he assumed Jessica would return on her own. Yet, he did not report her missing until Jessica's family demanded answers and involved police directly. Authorities later obtained GPS data from his cell phone and vehicle, reviewed surveillance footage from local businesses, and analyzed phone tower activity to reconstruct his movements. South Windsor police began an official investigation shortly after the missing person report was filed. Officers interviewed Hutchinson and searched the surrounding areas. In public, Taj appeared cooperative. He participated in search efforts, gave interviews, and handed out flyers. He spoke with police, joined Jessica's family in raising awareness, and appeared concerned about her disappearance. Despite his public actions, early evidence revealed inconsistencies in his statements. Surveillance footage from the apartment complex did not show Jessica leaving the premises on May 10th. There was no Uber, Lyft, taxi, or ride-hailing service activity connected to her name or phone number. Her cell phone activity stopped early that morning, and she made no contact with any known friends, co-workers, or relatives. Investigators found no signs that she had packed clothes or taken personal items. These contradictions made investigators question the initial voluntary departure theory. As days passed with no sightings, no digital trail, and no third-party witness accounts, law enforcement began to suspect foul play and narrowed their focus to the one person who last saw her alive, her husband. As police worked to verify Taj Hutchinson's account, more discrepancies emerged. His timeline, claiming that Jessica left peacefully after an argument, began to fall apart under scrutiny. Jessica's family grew increasingly suspicious and began to speak out publicly, particularly on social media. They pointed out that Jessica had not taken any of her belongings, including her car or phone. They also emphasized that she would never have left her baby behind willingly. Digital forensics revealed no activity on her phone, email, or social media accounts after May 10th. There were no GPS pings, no outgoing messages, and no location updates. This silence further contradicted Hutchinson's story. Typically, missing persons who leave voluntarily maintain at least some form of communication. In this case, there was nothing. It was also discovered that Taj delayed contacting police. Jessica's family were the ones who initiated the missing person report, not him. According to reports, he waited hours before expressing concern and made no immediate effort to alert authorities when Jessica left. Despite this, he continued to act as though nothing had happened. He remained in the apartment with the baby, attended searches, and did not make any public admissions of conflict. However, behind the scenes, authorities were beginning to see a different picture. The apartment, potentially a crime scene, was not secure for days. It was later determined that Taj had kept Jessica's body inside the home for over 24 hours before disposing of it. This behavior raised further red flags. The calculated nature of his responses, lack of urgency, and inconsistency in his timeline deepened suspicion. Police surveillance and analysis of digital records began to tighten the investigative net. On May 21st, 2021, 11 days after she was reported missing, authorities located the body of Jessica Edwards in a wooded area in East Hartford, Connecticut, about 10 miles from her home. The area was secluded, covered in brush, and rarely trafficked by the public. It had been searched previously, but the dense terrain delayed discovery. The body was in a decomposing state, consistent with being left in the elements for several days. The Connecticut office of the chief medical examiner conducted an autopsy. The cause of death was ruled as asphyxia, confirming suspicions of violent death rather than a natural or accidental cause. Jessica's clothing matched the description of what she was wearing on the day of her disappearance. The scene also showed attempted concealment. Her body had been placed in a location that suggested intentional hiding. It was partially covered by natural debris and located a significant distance from any nearby road or trail. The position of the body and surrounding evidence indicated that someone had attempted to hide it rather than leaving it randomly. Once the body was confirmed to be Jessica's, authorities moved quickly. Less than 12 hours later, Taj Hutchinson was arrested and formally charged in connection with her death. His cooperation with the case had abruptly ended. His role changed from concerned husband to prime suspect. During interrogation, Taj confessed to killing Jessica during an argument on May 10th. According to his statement, the confrontation started over a Mother's Day gift and escalated into physical violence. He claimed Jessica struck him with a laptop and came at him with a kitchen knife. In response, he said he tackled her and pinned her down by kneeling on her back and neck until she stopped breathing. He admitted to leaving her body in the apartment for over a day before moving it using his SUV and dumping it in East Hartford. After disposing of her remains, he returned to their home and continued daily life with their child while authorities and families searched for her. Hutchinson was formally charged with first-degree manslaughter, tampering with physical evidence, and risk of injury to a minor. He waived his Miranda rights and gave a full confession to investigators. In his statement, he described the sequence of events that began on May 10, 2021, the day after Mother's Day. The argument between him and Jessica reportedly stemmed from a disagreement about a Mother's Day gift. He had gifted her guinea pigs, which led to tension and verbal conflict. According to Hutchinson's account, the verbal argument escalated into a physical confrontation. He claimed Jessica struck him with a laptop and allegedly picked up a kitchen knife. He responded by attempting to restrain her, during which he forced her face down onto the floor and applied pressure by kneeling on her neck and back. He continued to hold her in that position until she became unresponsive and died. The cause of death was later confirmed by the medical examiner as asphyxia due to compression of the torso and neck. After the killing, Hutchinson did not contact emergency services or attempt resuscitation. Instead, he left Jessica's body in the apartment for approximately 24 hours. During this time, he cared for their infant son and resumed normal routines. The following day, he transported her body in the rear cargo area of his SUV and drove to a wooded location in East Hartford, where he concealed her remains under foliage. After disposing of the body, Hutchinson returned home and began fabricating a false narrative. He told friends, family, and police that Jessica had voluntarily left the house on the morning of May 10th following an argument. He claimed she walked out without her vehicle or phone and had not been seen since. This version of events was inconsistent with available evidence and failed to explain why her personal belongings, including her phone and car keys, were left behind. Over the next several days, Hutchinson joined the search efforts. He distributed flyers bearing Jessica's photo, posted appeals on social media, and gave police interviews. His behavior was viewed by some as cooperative and concerned. In reality, this activity served as a cover, allowing him to deflect suspicion and appear helpful while concealing the homicide and the body's location. Eventually, inconsistencies in his story, along with forensic and digital evidence, led police to focus on him as a suspect. GPS data, cell phone tower analysis, and surveillance footage contradicted his claims. This led to the issuance of a warrant and the subsequent discovery of Jessica's remains. Once confronted with the evidence, Hutchinson confessed and was taken into custody without incident. After his arrest, Taj Hutchinson remained in custody while awaiting trial. He initially faced the possibility of more severe charges, including murder. However, in November 2024, Hutchinson entered into a plea agreement with prosecutors. Under the agreement, Hutchinson pled guilty to 3 felony charges: first-degree manslaughter, 20 years imprisonment; risk of injury to a child, 3 years imprisonment; tampering with physical evidence, for years imprisonment. These sentences were ordered to run consecutively, totaling 27 years of incarceration. The sentence included a mandatory minimum term, meaning Hutchinson must serve the full sentence with limited opportunities for early release. Additionally, the court imposed a 75-year protective order. This legally prohibits Hutchinson from contacting members of Jessica's family or his own biological son, who was an infant at the time of the crime. The order was designed to prevent future emotional harm and protect the child from potential psychological contact with the perpetrator of his mother's death. During the sentencing hearing, statements were read from members of Jessica's family. The court acknowledged their loss in the circumstances of the crime, but the plea deal was upheld. The plea agreement avoided a prolonged trial and secured a conviction without requiring testimony from family or expert witnesses. The public reaction to the sentence was mixed. Some viewed the 27-year term as a practical compromise that ensured accountability. Others argued the sentence was too lenient given the deliberate nature of the crime, the attempts at concealment, and the psychological manipulation that followed. Legal experts noted that manslaughter carries a lower burden of proof than murder, and plea deals are common in cases with circumstantial evidence and delayed discovery of remains. Following the sentencing, the community of South Windsor and the broader Connecticut public responded with a range of actions and statements. Vigils and memorials. Public vigils were held in Jessica's memory at several locations, including Manchester Community College and local parks. Community members lit candles, displayed photos, and laid flowers.
Developing news at 11, family and friends remembering the life of Jessica Edwards. Thank you for joining us. I'm Kevin Hogan. Police found the body of the 30-year-old mother in an East Hartford park, and tonight her husband, Teo Hutchinson, is locked up on a manslaughter charge. The 22-year-old is being held now on $1 million bond. Loved ones held a vigil to honor Edwards. Channel 3 Eyewitness News reporter Shante Passmore covered the emotional event. She's live right now in South Windsor with more. Shante?
A mother, a sister, a friend. That's how many people remember Jessica Edwards. And people passed out these red ribbons because we're learning this was her favorite color. And tonight, many are wishing this wasn't the outcome.
May the circle be unbroken by and by, Lord.
A family reeling from the loss of a young woman ready to soar. Jessica Edwards, a mom to a 7-month-old, set her sights on becoming a respiratory therapist following a career change. Instead, her family mourned her death.
I don't know if you know what it feels like to feel empty, but I feel so empty. I feel like I died with Jessica.
Family tell Eyewitness News they last solved a 30-year-old on Mother's Day. South Windsor police say her family reported her missing to them. Her husband, Taj Hutchinson, reported it to East Hartford police. Investigators found the mom's body in this East Hartford park Friday, thanks to location data, days after family, friends, and volunteers searched for the woman. Last night, police arrested the 22-year-old husband in connection to his wife's death. Tonight at the vigil, people try to make sense of this loss.
The most loyal friend you could ever have. The most funniest friend.
It's just different when it hits you and it hits your community, just to process the loss and just feel all the raw emotion and just kind of support everyone through it.
Before the balloon release, Edwards' family pledged to always keep her memory alive. As for Hutchinson, he is expected to make his first court appearance on Monday. Right now, at this hour, he is facing charges for manslaughter in the first degree, but we're told that additional charges may be filed based on autopsy results. Live in South Windsor tonight, Shantae Passmore, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
Domestic violence awareness. Several local organizations, including women's advocacy groups and domestic violence shelters, use the case to launch awareness campaigns. These focus on the hidden signs of domestic abuse, the risk of emotional manipulation, and the importance of early intervention. Family advocacy. Jessica's family has remained active in speaking about the case. They participated in interviews, school events, and workshops. Their focus has been on honoring Jessica's life and raising awareness about the dangers of invisible domestic abuse. Academic and institutional response. Manchester Community College, where Jessica was pursuing her degree in respiratory therapy, organized an event in her honor. Faculty and students discussed the impact of her death and held sessions on recognizing signs of abuse in student populations. Public discourse. On social media and in news forums, the case became a subject of wider discussion. Many viewers expressed shock at how a seemingly mild disagreement could lead to homicide. Others noted the strategic nature of Hutchinson's post-crime behavior, caring for the baby, assisting with the search, and maintaining a calm demeanor. The Jessica Edwards case presents multiple implications for how domestic violence is understood, reported, and prevented. Hidden nature of abuse. There were no prior police reports or public signs of violence in the marriage. This aligns with findings that many abusive relationships involve psychological control, not always physical violence. The absence of external signs can delay intervention and make detection difficult. Manipulation after murder. Hutchinson's active participation in public search efforts and false narrative creation demonstrates how abusers may manipulate the legal system and public perception after a crime has been committed. This form of deception can hinder investigations and prolong risk to others. Failure of detection. The case underscores gaps in social detection of abuse. Neither family, friends, nor co-workers reported seeing major red flags. This points to the need for greater education on identifying subtle forms of control, emotional isolation, and coercive behavior. Need for preventative measures. Domestic violence prevention strategies often focus on physical abuse. This case reveals the importance of addressing early psychological and emotional instability, even when no physical harm has yet occurred. Impact on children. The child, who was 7 months old at the time, is now without both parents. This creates a long-term psychological and legal dilemma regarding guardianship identity and the effects of trauma in early childhood. How do you recognize when a normal relationship is hiding darker behavior? Why do some abusers maintain the appearance of being calm and supportive in public? Should there be stricter laws around false reporting in domestic violence cases? Was 27 years an appropriate sentence for this crime? Why or why not? Could this murder have been prevented if earlier red flags were noticed? What signs of control or isolation would you look for in a relationship like this? How would you respond if a family member's partner raised quiet concerns, but no physical abuse was apparent? If you found this story as gripping and heartbreaking as we did, don't forget to like this video and share it with others. And if you want to hear more true crime stories that uncover the mysteries behind these tragic events, make sure to subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell. You won't want to miss our latest stories, updates, and discussions. Thank you for joining us on this journey to seek justice and explore the truth. Together, we can make a difference. Until next time, stay safe and stay aware.